For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or skins, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skins uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
Welcome to Orioles on the Verge. This is Zach Spence, joined as always by Bob Phelan and Nick Stevens. On tonight's episode, we're going to break down the Orioles spring breakout roster. The Orioles prospects will square off against the Yankees prospects on Saturday, and the Orioles will be fielding a very interesting group of players this year. We'll be talking about that, and we're going to get into a discussion of what is now the strongest core group of positional players by position in this farm system. For years, it's always been a debate over whether or not the Orioles have more infield depth versus more high-quality outfield depth. This year, the discussion seems to be changing a little bit, and the spring breakout rosters reflect that. So we're going to get into all about it tonight's episode of Orioles on the Verge, which is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. It's the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA and college basketball to the NHL and UFC. BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every three-pointer to hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Last week, the Orioles unveiled their spring breakout roster, and these are the prospects who will be squaring off against the Yankees prospects on Saturday night at 6:05 at Ed Smith Stadium down in Sarasota. And if you listen to our recent Top 50 Prospects countdown, a lot of these names are going to be familiar to you, and they reflect a lot of the trends we've been seeing unfold in the Orioles player development system over the last few years, including the influx of players signed through international free agency, as well as a continually improving pitching development program. And that's where I'm going to start right here. The pitchers that are included on this roster are right-handers Michael Ferret, Killer Morphe, Pat Riley, Nestor Herman, Cameron Weston, and Levi Wells. They were joined by left-hander Luis De Leon, who looked pretty good in an outing against the Pirates on Monday night while he was up with the Major League team for the Orioles. So we'll get into every facet of this roster on this episode. But, Nick, I'll start with you here as this group of pitchers. I think we're pretty excited to see these guys take the mound.
Yeah, the only thing with this game, a couple things that bummed me out. The roster was like, hell yeah, this is amazing roster. And I love that Major League Baseball is doing this. But then the realization sets in on how this is actually going to, I think, be a kind of a bummer, personally, not to bring the mood down, but it's at Ed Smith Stadium, like you said, so we don't get StatCast data, which is unfortunate. And it's only 7 innings, which is, again, unfortunate. But this roster is going to be really fun. Like, if, you hear us talk about Nestor Herman a lot, you hear us talk about Keeler Morphe a lot, Michael Ferret a lot, and if you haven't seen them pitch, you're going to get an opportunity to see them pitch, and that's going to be fascinating. A lot of people got to watch Levi Wells pitch for the first time on Monday night, and I didn't know he had 100 miles per hour in the tank. We knew it was like 97, 98. We did not know he was 100 miles per hour with an absolute hellish slider. No clue. As far as I'm going to imagine that I'm the high man on Levi Wells among the group, probably because I am honestly probably a little bit ridiculously high last year, but even I didn't know he had that in him. So that was fantastic. And that's some of the fun things. Like, we saw Trace Bright put up some fantastic numbers in last year's game. That sucks that we're not going to be able to see some of this updated data, and it's going to take longer because, like, Ferret, Morphe, like, these guys aren't going to reach AAA. Pat Riley will, so we'll get to see that soon enough when he gets to AAA. But yeah, I think it's going to be an awesome opportunity for people who, you're listening to the show, you're reading stuff, but if you haven't been able to actually watch these guys pitch, this is a perfect group to sit back and hopefully enjoy hopefully watching them mow down some Yankee hitters in the process.
Yeah, if Levi Wells is just casually pumping 99, 100 miles per hour as a starting pitcher this year, he's going to rise up our rankings tremendously fast because, oh my God. And then 20 inches of break on the sweeper. Yeah, it was good stuff. There's no doubt about it. I even saw guys in our Discord be like, who is Levi Wells and why isn't he pitching in the Orioles Major League bullpen right now? So that was Garrett, by the way.
Hey, shout out Jeff Ponce, because right after the draft, Jeff Ponce said Levi Wells could be in the Major League bullpen his first year as a pro. Didn't work out, but he hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, that was a good call. But this pitching staff, like Ferret, Morphe, Riley, Herman, De Leon, Weston, Wells, I could not be more excited to watch. I guess they'll get an inning each, but like this is like the perfect encapsulation of year of the pitcher right here in one handful of pitchers, because all of these guys I'm super excited to see with like a major league quality camera, center field camera with no StatCast. Yeah, that really sucks. But we'll get plenty of reports out of this, and we'll get eyes on these guys against good competition with good camera angles and good quality, like HD cameras. So it'll be a ton of fun. And yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, if Levi Wells is made the changes that he's made, and last year we saw Ryan Long come out throwing like 98 miles per hour. Like, this is the jump some of these pitchers can make over an offseason, adding a pitch, tweaking things, adding velocity. This is going to be a nice sneak peek before we get into the minor league season about the changes these guys have made. And these are already the best pitching prospects in the system, so even better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this will apply a little bit for the reason that Kobe Mayo is not here. Brandon Young probably isn't here because he stood a chance of possibly making the opening day roster in camp. And if there's another injury before the end of spring training, you have to think that Young is going to be one of the first guys the Orioles turn to. So when you get beyond him, this is the best group of pitching prospects you can ask for. And I agree with Bob. It kind of encapsulates everything that the Orioles have right now. You've got a few international arms here in Morphe and De Leon. You have some of the finds deeper in the drafts like Ferret and Herman. And then Weston, I think, is really going to be fascinating to see, because you look at every pitcher that is in this mix. All of them throw harder than Cameron Weston, fastball-wise. But the way that Weston can just seemingly throw any pitch over for a strike with a lot of movement, that is going to be such a fun contrast to go. And this is how I hope they line it up. Nestor Herman, 1 inning, Cameron Weston in the middle, and then Keeler Morphe after that. That would just be really fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm super excited about Weston. Just throw all your pitches. I think he's just going to consistently be underrated because of the guys that throw the gas are all around him, but he's going to be the guy that's just going to quietly get to the majors and have a really, really strong career, and I'm here for it.
We'll go into the positional players now, and it should come as a little surprise that the number one prospect in the Orioles farm system and one of the top prospects in all of baseball, Samuel Basallo, is on this roster, but he tops a catching group that is really deep as he's followed by Creed Willems, Ethan Anderson, and Miguel Rodriguez. So all 4 catchers listed there were on our top 50 list, and of them, 3 were ranked inside of the top 30. So that gives you a good sense that the Orioles have a lot of catching depth right now, and there is not necessarily a situation of quantity over quality because all 4 of these players have their own attributes that make them interesting prospects, with Basayo obviously being the headliner, but the Orioles really are deep in this position.
Yeah, it's Miguel Rodriguez getting there is pretty cool. A guy who just cracked our top, I think he was 50th on our top 50 prospect list. And this is a guy who, we'll see what he can do defensively, but he's a hitter. Like he is a true hitter who walks more than he strikes out. And a lot of these guys are probably only going to get 1 at bat. So again, that's something else to like temper expectations a little bit here. If Rodriguez gets in, he's good. I imagine he will because Ethan Anderson's probably going to play like first base or maybe right field or something. But like Rodriguez might get 1 at bat. If he strikes out, it means nothing. But like it's cool to get that Orioles fans get to see a guy like that because he's someone who I think is going to make a lot of noise this year. Yeah, Basayo is great. You're going to have Basayo and Adley hopefully for the next couple of years. But to showcase this catching depth, man, everyone knows who Creed is. Everyone knows the hair. Everyone knows everything about Creed. But getting eyes on Ethan Anderson and Miguel Rodriguez is going to be pretty cool. I think Ethan Anderson had an at-bat the other day in a spring training game. Another guy I think a lot of people are super high on. So, yeah, this catching group, it doesn't even include guys like Anutis Mordon. It doesn't include Ryan Stafford. Like, it shows you just how deep the catching position is in this organization.
Yeah, no doubt. Like every year it seems like they're drafting and signing like 2 or 3 in the draft, another 2 or 3 in international signing period of catchers with really strong upside. Not even talking about Andrew Tess, who I think has potential as a high school selection. So yeah, clearly the Orioles love up the middle talent and they do not skip catcher when it comes to up the middle because it is a very important position and I guess it's like the Moneyball approach. We're going to get all the catchers, give them all to us. So yeah, it's exciting. I guess again, just like the pitchers, we'll have a new catcher every inning with 4 catchers on the roster, but hey, I'm here for it. We already gushed about Samuel Basayo earlier in the week. So give us a chance to gush about these other catchers. Creed Willems, he's seen a lot of time at Major League Spring Training this year, looking like Kenny Powers out there. I saw John Kruk was talking about last weekend. Makes sense. But yeah, Miguel Rodriguez and Ethan Anderson, who I know we're super high on his bat. So let's see it. I think Ethan Anderson's like Adley Rutschman without the defense.
And we're going to come back to the catchers in a little bit, but go now to the infielders, a group that includes Griff O'Farrell, Aaron Estrada, Leandro Arias, Joshua Lorenzo, DJ Layton, Max Wagner, and Fernando Peguero. All of those players, except for one, ranked inside of our top 50 prospects list, and that is Peguero. And I thought we should actually start with him because this is the one where people might have been a little bit surprised. And to be honest, I don't know if Peguero was on our radars necessarily for the top 50 list. I know I kind of looked at him at the back end, but he didn't get a single vote between the 3 of us. So not only was he not in the top 50, but he wasn't highlighted in last week's episode covering the best of the rest. Nevertheless, a lot of interesting attributes with Peguero. 20-year-old switch hitter who just coming off a strong year down in the Florida Complex League, figures to open this season at Delmarva, has cut the strikeout rate down a little bit. Actually went up a little bit last year, but the strikeout rate continues to hold kind of steady while good walk numbers, steals a lot of bases, has some versatility. So a player with good athleticism that's flying a little bit under the radar right now.
To me, he's like new and improved Nolberth Romero. I think he's going to be just a really, really solid organizational depth piece. And obviously, he had a great, I think it was second run at the DSL. He had some great numbers. Him and Ellis Cuevas both did when they repeated the level. So there might be more upside than I'm thinking. But for me, I think he's going to be that guy that You need an infielder in AAA this week? Well, Peguero will be there. And next week it's AA. He can go there and hold his own too. So I think he's just going to be really important to the health of the minor league system as a whole. But yeah, he's got tools for sure.
I noted, I was going to ask you if am I missing something here? Because he repeated the DSL and had a good year, but like he's a bounce around guy. Like he got when he gets promoted to Norfolk for a week. And I remember seeing comments last year, people like, "Oh, Fernando Peguero getting the jump to Norfolk." I'm like, isn't that like the telltale sign of like you're kind of toast? Like, but I don't know. Maybe he is gonna provide something. I thought that was a weird pick, to be honest, but I don't know. I like the rest of this infield though. I like the international flavor here. Leandro Arias and Joshua Lorenzo and Aaron Estrada specifically. Like Lorenzo, I think again, this is he signed as a 16-year-old kid, enormous raw power as well. And I think he had an unconfirmed ankle injury it was last year. Whatever the injury was really delayed his season. I'm pumped to see Lorenzo on the field for the first time because I've never seen him on a baseball field in a real game before, not even in the DSL. So I'm jacked to see him, to see what he looks like out there because he's still, 18? I don't know how old he is now. He's probably only 18 right now still. Maybe starts in Delmarva. We'll see. But this is a kid with enormous raw power and a lot of big, loud tools. I just think last year was a kind of an injury-riddled year that you can wash away, and we'll see what he does in his first real full season of pro ball here.
Yeah, absolutely. Very excited about Lorenzo. Think he could be a huge breakout player this year. Obviously, we love Estrada and Arias. We've talked about them and their upside a lot. Griff O'Farrell, a little divisive as far as where he lands on prospect lists with the floor and the ceiling. But also you got DJ Layton here, which is cool because he's never even played a professional inning, if I'm not mistaken. And also Max Wagner, who got into the game Monday night, which was cool to see. Hopefully this means he's healthy. And hopefully the absence of Frederick Bencosme does not mean that he's not healthy, because that's the only thing that gives me pause about these rosters in a couple spots. It's like, where's this guy? Is it because he's banged up? Hope not.
Yeah, I might have expected Bencosme on the roster, certainly over Peguero and maybe over Wagner. Did want to talk about Wagner for a second, though. If this is just a sign that he's healthy, I'm fine with that because I think that's really what he needs right now is reps. But where do you guys think, when we've kind of covered this, he's down in the lower 40s on our top 50 list, but what kind of year do you think this is going to be for him? Do you think he needs to go out and have a big year to kind of reclaim the mantle a little bit, or is it just an opportunity for him to ease back in?
I think it's a huge make or break year for Max Wagner, and it's not really so much his fault. I just think there is a cavalcade of guys coming behind him in the infield. You see it right here on this list. Like, these guys are not far away from AA. Well, some of them are, but some of them are not. Estrada, Arias, O'Farrell, they'll be AA worthy pretty soon. Lorenzo, if he breaks out, who knows? And there's other guys as well. So I think he's going to need a pretty solid year. You give him some leeway in the first half, but by the end of the season, he needs to be up and showing the promise that he had, or he could be the next guy like John Rhodes taken in the minor league phase of the Rule 5 draft next offseason.
Yeah, I can't remember what I said early in this offseason. I know I addressed that specific point. Whatever I said then, my new thought about Max Wagner now is this is a make or break year for Wagner, because he's going to be 24 by the end of the year. And he flashed the power when he was in Aberdeen. The speed came out of nowhere. He didn't steal bases in college. He didn't steal them when he first debuted. And then he stole like 26, 27 bases in Aberdeen. Again, like we talk about a lot, I think that was a Roberto Mercado / fast Aberdeen field that boosted that. But like, Wagner's flashed some tools here. I still don't think he has a super high ceiling, but if he wants to put himself back on the map and, be a depth piece here in Baltimore, or somebody who maybe there's another organization who really values Wagner and sees something in him and he can be an addition to a trade package, he's got to start building that up now. But he had no offseason last year before the 2024 season because of hamate bone surgery. And then he had the back injury that ended up shutting him down for pretty much all of the year 2024. So he's also had a concussion. I think that was in 2023 though. He's just been beat around since he's got to the AA level. So hopefully he stays healthy and salvages something here.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Let's go over now the outfielders, and this is about as packed of a group as I think you can get for this organization right now. Headlined by Enrique Bradfield Jr., Vance Honeycutt, Dylan Beavers, and Judd Fabian, all of whom ranked inside the top 10 of our top 50. And then you round that out with some either international free agents that are younger and still relatively early in their careers, or recent draftees. In the case of Austin O'Verne, who is joined by Steven Martinez, Thomas Sosa, and Jordan Sanchez. So if you like elite speed, you got that with Bradfield. You've got a lot of guys who can hit for power here, as well as some good defenders. So what do you see? What do you guys see in this group of outfielders?
This is the most exciting group for me. I mean, Steve Martinez is 17 years old. Like 17 years old. I think I saw he's going to be the second youngest player participating in the series of games that every team is putting together. And to me, that just shows an incredible vote of confidence by the organization to want to put him out there and showcase him, especially when you consider every single outfielder listed here is exciting in some way or another, has big breakout potential. Jordan Sanchez, Thomas Sosa, we've talked about to death. Vance Honeycutt, like this is the biggest boomer bust #1 first round draft pick that the Orioles have taken under this front office. Austin O'Verne as well, Judd Fabian, Dylan Beavers. It's just name after name here is exciting. I can't wait to see them all play. But Steven Martinez, it's like #1 with a bullet. He's here for a reason. Like you don't see Elvin Garcia here in the infield. They put Fernando Peguero over him. So the fact that Steve Martinez is here says a lot to me. And the fact that Ellis Cuevas is not here makes me hope that he's not hurt.
I think I noted Ellis Cuevas too, but my thought was it's because this outfield is so freaking stacked. Like there's some legitimate guys that are not in this outfield group. And so like you zoom out and look at this system as a whole, I think this shows you this is where the depth is, this is where the strength is as well. And also this is where the biggest boom bust is with these guys. Thomas Sosa, I think, is a big one. Steven Martinez, obviously, because he's so young. Jordan Vance Honeycutt, like these are all big boom bust guys, but the ceiling is just astronomical with so many of these guys. What if Vance Honeycutt cuts the chase, cuts the swing and miss, and starts becoming more the Vance Honeycutt that people were hoping he would be as the potential 1-1 in last year's draft? Like Steven Martinez hit 5 home runs as a 16-year-old child in the Dominican Summer League last year. That may not sound like a lot, but that is massive for him. If Sosa, like you said, we've beaten him to death. The exit velo numbers. If he starts tapping into that raw power, into game power, like that's going to transform him. And I don't even think we talk enough about his speed out there. He's a potential 2020 type player. And it's just like, oh yeah, Judd Fabian, Austin Overin, and Jordan Sanchez are there as well. Overin's got 270 grade tools in his fielding and his speed. Jordan Sanchez, a little bit older in the DSL last year, but Cuban prospect who had like a 160 something WRC plus, could be a starting outfielder for Delmarva to begin the year. Like, and Judd Fabian, as we talk about, like, that's a potential fourth outfielder in the major leagues, and he's just like an afterthought among this group, it seems like. So this perfectly encompasses kind of the system as a whole. This is where the fire happens, the magic happens right here with this group.
So that leads into the next topic I wanted to bring up in this episode, which is if you're looking at position players, where is the strength in this farm system now? Because for years, it's always kind of bounced back and forth between the infielders and the outfielders, because the infielders have always had that one guy at the top, whether it's been Gunnar in the past or Kobe Mayo now. And this year, this is not the case, but in a lot of years, you would have that top guy in Henderson, Holiday, or Mayo, followed by guys like Joey Ortiz, Connor Norby, Jordan Westberg, where it's like, these are not necessarily perennial all-stars in the making, but there's possibly solid major league potential here. You don't necessarily have that now with the infielders. Outfielders, meanwhile, you guys just touched on it, some big question marks with a lot of players in this group, but it's a very athletic group and one with a lot of upside. And then you look at the catchers. And catching is a position where you generally need to be deep, but you generally don't need to be deep with potential major league quality talent. Now, I don't say that to say that I think all four of the catchers we talked about earlier in Basayo, Anderson, Willems, and Rodriguez are going to be major league catchers, but all four of them have some tool or a series of tools that makes them interesting. And it's not just a guy with a really good glove that can't hit, but he'll get to the major leagues because of his defense, or a catcher who hits for a lot of power but can't do anything else. These four players have pretty well-rounded skill sets, especially for being as young as they are in the case of Rodriguez and Basayo. So what do you guys think right now is the strongest position player group in the farm system?
I can't imagine, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's the Dodgers, but I can't imagine another organization that has the top end and depth of talent at the catcher position that the Orioles do, between Basayo, Ethan Anderson, Miguel Rodriguez, who am I forgetting? Creed Willems, of course. And also you have Anudis Mordon, you got Silas Ardway, you got Maverick Hanley, and it just goes on and on and on. Andrew Tess, Ryan Stafford, we've talked about. So probably catcher is the answer, but the outfielders are still the most exciting just because of what could be. With the catchers, it seems pretty simple. Basayo, I think, should be even higher in the prospect rankings than he is. And everyone else is pretty damn strong as well. But, man, those outfielders are tantalizing to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a strong case to be made for catching, but I love this outfield group. And it's the ceiling that these guys represent. And yeah, pick a guy. Every single one of them has a major question mark next to their name. But if one or two of these guys hit, and it's a big group to choose from, if one or two of them hit, you're talking about a real big time impact major league bat. Like if Vance Honeycutt hits, if it's Enrique Bradfield Jr., if it's Steven Martinez in 3 years, like even if it's just one of them, you are talking about a potential like Gold Glove outfielder, the next big thing here in Baltimore. So I do think it's the outfield, but yeah, I do think it is fair. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago with the infield. You know, nobody going to give them love here. It's because there isn't that Gunnar, there isn't that Jackson Holiday. But we talked about when we were doing the best tools stuff, like, did we go with any of these infield prospects? I don't think we really did. I think you got to dig deep. It's DJ Layton. It's Luis Almeida. It's Elvin Garcia, Emilio Sanchez. It's these 16, 17, 18-year-old guys who are still in the FCL, who might be in Delmarva this year, that represent the true upside. Because, like, you look at the top, yeah, Griffo Farrell, I don't think any of us would agree has a super high ceiling. Leandro Arias and Aaron Estrada, these guys I think are high floor, but I don't see super high ceilings with them either, but could be potential impact guys in the major leagues. But like Carter Young, Anthony Servideo, these guys are going to be up in AAA. Like there's just not that impact infielder anymore in the system, but you got to dig deep for the infield guys.
Yeah, I went back and forth between outfielders and catchers, and the reason that I settle on outfielders is something that Nick touched on, which is that even if two in this group hit, it's a big win for the Orioles, and it's a much larger pool of players to choose from than there is a catching. Now, I will say that if your rate of success is 2 out of 4 catchers from that group of Willems, Rodriguez, Basayo, and Anderson hit, that's pretty good. But for the outfielders, I feel pretty confident that you've got 2 speed and defense guys in Bradfield and O'Verne. One of them is at least going to be a very high floor, highest ceiling 4th outfielder. Maybe Vance Honeycutt hits. Maybe he doesn't, but maybe you get a few years of 30-30 type power from him with good center field defense, kind of a Drew Stubbs type career. So there's a wide range of outcomes with these outfielders, but I think that ultimately when we look back in a few years, 2 of these guys will hit and end up contributing at the major league level.
Like it. Who's the guy that everyone is gushing over after the spring game? Who's the guy that is the new social media darling prospect that everyone's like, oh damn, I did not know we had him?
Nasty Nestor.
I'm going to go with Morphe.
It's going to be a pitcher for sure. And I'm going to say Cameron Weston does some funky stuff. And he gets like 3 quick ground ball outs, and people are like, I want him in the big leagues tomorrow to help this bullpen. When, as they're watching this game, and the Major League Spring Training Club gives up 3 more bullpen home runs.
Hey, I wouldn't rule it out with anybody in this group of pitchers. That someone's going to break through and do something.
All right, so then it's going to be DJ Layton then, because we didn't talk about any hitter.
Exactly. So look forward to DJ Layton's 2 home run game this weekend. I do have some exciting news here to drop at the end of this episode. We have a special bonus episode coming Wednesday night at 9 p.m. We will be live with former Oriole, former Major League All-Star Arthur Rhodes. Rhodes is going to be the pitching coach for the Atlantic League's Hagerstown Flying Boxcars this season. He's going to join us to talk about his career in the majors as well as what's coming up for him with the Boxcars in 2025. You're not going to want to miss that. In the meantime, you can check us out on our many social media channels, including Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, Blue Sky, TikTok, and YouTube. And we're also over at Substack, OriolesOnTheVerge.substack.com. And while you're browsing around the internet, be sure to sign up, become a member of our Patreon community today at the $3, $5, or $10 levels, and have access to bonus coverage throughout the season, as well as Patreon exclusive channels in our Discord and more. For Bob Phelan and Nick Stevens, this is Zach Sped. You've been listening to Orioles on the Verge, presented by BetOnline and part of the Believe Podcast Network.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.